And we say, what's going on, everybody? Christian Ballard Sports Media, coming at you today with a college football preview video. Going to get back to doing some of these. We'll get some during conference week in early June. Coming up, not this week, but the week after. We have a couple guests lined up for conference week. Last minute, if you'd like to be a part of it. Um, I don't want to, we don't need guests every single day, but it would help. I think we need someone for like the Big 12 and the Pac 12. Really, so far, the only ones I could think of that we got are, honestly, if I'm being honest, I think we only got people for the SEC. But uh, yeah, hit me up, comment on this video, let me know. Um, we could get you as a guest on conference week. Let me know what conference you'd be willing to cover, and we could get it situated very soon. So, anyway, looking today at the 2023 Tennessee Volunteers team in the SEC East, as we know, and had a remarkable season last year. I know they didn't win a national title. That credit goes to Georgia. But they seemed like a team that could have, honestly, if they had been in that game and made the playoffs. They just kind of hit some roadblocks. I think losing to Georgia in the regular season held them back a little bit, but also that second loss without Hendon Hooker and very atrocious defense against South Carolina. Um, definitely held back the Vols, but they beat some pretty good teams: Pitt, Florida, LSU, who won the West. They won that game on the road in a blowout fashion on October 8th. The following week, they beat my Crimson Tide of Alabama for the first time in like 16, 17 years. I think 16 years. They beat them in Knoxville. They beat Kentucky 40-46. They beat Missouri 66-24. They shut out their rival in Vanderbilt. And to top off the season, they made a New Year's Six Bowl in the Orange Bowl. And of course, they beat Clemson 31-14. So overall, if I'm a volunteer, I'm looking back at this season and I'm saying job well done for Josh Heupel. And I'm giving him all the credit he deserves. Let's go ahead and take a look at the season for 2023. Go ahead and pull up their schedule. Open things up with the ACC opponent in Virginia. So they closed out last season with the ACC opponent in Clemson. This year they open the season with Virginia. They play Austin Peay, who Alabama played last year, so we're kind of familiar with an opponent like that. They should probably, like Alabama did, they probably beat them like a drum. But again, we'll see. Tennessee has had a lot of hype before going into a season, and they have failed. After that game, they got to go to Florida. They play UTSA at home. Can they get revenge here? They got to play the South Carolina Gamecocks on September 30th at Neyland Stadium. They get a bye week. The other team from the West that they get this year is Texas A&M on October 14th. Then they got to travel to Bryant-Denny Stadium in Tuscaloosa, Alabama to play the Crimson Tide for the third Saturday in October rivalry. Then they got to go to Kroger Field in Lexington at Kentucky. Their homecoming game is UConn, at Missouri, Georgia, and Vanderbilt. So that all being said, I look at this and I say, okay, they went 11-2 last year with the Orange Bowl victory over Clemson. That's pretty good. I look at their schedule this year and I say they could probably do the same thing. Personally, I don't think it's going to happen. They could, but my at most record prediction is going to be less than 10 wins. I can tell you that much. And maybe I'm sleeping on them. Maybe I'm not. They bring in a 5-star quarterback in Nico Amamoliva. They have Squirrel White, who comes back for his sophomore year at wide receiver. made some big plays last year. Dante Thornton, um, the main go-to quarterback. I mentioned some receivers too, but the main go-to quarterback is going to be Joe Milton the third, redshirt senior. He's 6'5", 242, from the state of Florida, transferred from Michigan. They bring in on defense Brandon Turnage, who transferred from Alabama. Uh, they brought in quite a few transfers. Andre Turrentine is a transfer from Ohio State. He's a defensive back. Um, so they really have used the transfer portal in many different ways this off season, for Tennessee, which is really good and should give them a leg up in many different categories. So I know y'all you can't really see my face, can you, with that banner? It'll be okay. Let's do this one here. So, looking at the schedule, I see no reason they shouldn't just run through this outside of a couple games. I do think they take a step back. I'm going to make a bold claim on one loss, but I think at most, honestly, I just see them messing up somewhere along the way. You have a revenge game in Alabama. Georgia's going to be the top dog in the East. Could they mess up with Florida, South Carolina, something like that? That's where the trap games come in. At Florida, South Carolina at home, and at Kentucky. If I had to pick three games to be trap games, I would say those three teams. Possible upsets are Alabama and Georgia. Those are the two games that they really, unless something crazy happens, those are the two games they probably won't be favored in this season. So I expect big things from Tennessee. I expect them to make a bowl game. They probably make a New Year's Six again. Maybe make it back to the Orange Bowl. I think, what do we have this year? Do we have the Sugar and the Rose Bowl for the college football playoff? So yeah, they can make the Orange Bowl again, absolutely, and get back and win it again. That's possible. Um, I really do expect some big things from Tennessee, but at the same time, there's got to be some regression because of what they've lost. You know, they lost Jalen Hyatt, they lost Hendon Hooker, lost some guys on defense. I think I'm sure some guys have transferred out on the roster, but not too many big names. But they should, you know, technically, I would say they should have no issues. I'm gonna make this one quick today and let you guys get out of here pretty fast. I'm gonna say they go 9-3 at most. If I had to give it at most, I think they drop 3 games, and I go ahead and give you these losses at Bama, Georgia, and I'm gonna honestly say South Carolina improves this year. I think they could slip up. I think they could slip up again. Um, they're not used to playing a team. You look at this schedule. The next game is interesting, and I don't think I put it on the trap game list. But Texas A&M, circle that game because they don't play too often. That could be an interesting game to see. That's at uh, Neyland Stadium in Knoxville. So that could be an interesting game. But yeah, they could also lose to Kentucky. They could lose to Florida. South Carolina's at home. I don't know, man. South Carolina's a wild card team in the East this year in the SEC and college football. They have some momentum. Spencer Rattler comes back. Austin Stogner, the tight end. Um, have some guys on defense. They could be a dangerous team. I just have a gut feeling South Carolina is going to beat Tennessee again. I know that might sound crazy. I know maybe we'll look at that game when it comes time and we'll say Ballard was wrong. And if that's the case, sue me. I don't care. South Carolina, I'm calling it right now. I think that could be a loss there. Um, I think they over, even though they got a bye week in there, are they overlooking for Texas A&M? Are they looking at an opponent in Texas A&M saying we don't play them often? What do we do? They could lose to Florida. They could. Tony Elliott is the Virginia head coach. He used to be the offensive coordinator at Clemson. I don't think they lose that game. That's neutral field, but it favors Tennessee being in Nashville. It's at Nissan Stadium, home of the Tennessee Titans. Um, you know, I just I don't know. Florida's going to be garbage this year. Florida's not going to be good. You should handle them. South Carolina could be an interesting team. I think, if anything, that's your big upset right there for the Tennessee Vols. Unless something happens with like Missouri or Kentucky, I don't know. Kentucky lost their quarterback. Missouri is having player issues and trying to figure out their roster, trying to figure out where they are with Eli Drinkwitz. We already looked. I think we already looked at Missouri. We did. Um, I picked Tennessee to win that game already. Vanderbilt late in the season. I like Vanderbilt to improve this year, not be good enough to beat Tennessee. You're not beating Georgia. You're not beating Alabama. I guess maybe you could. Maybe you could get Alabama in Tuscaloosa. Alabama's got some issues. They got quarterback to figure out. They have some question marks. Georgia has some question marks a little bit too, but they look pretty darn good this spring. I'm not going to lie. They have to fall somewhere else, don't they? I mean, that's just what Tennessee does. Is they were not supposed to lose to South Carolina last year, and they did. They're not supposed to lose to them again, are they? But will they? That's a big question. Anyway, I appreciate you guys watching. Hey, do me a favor. Hit that thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button. I really would appreciate it. I love you guys. Jesus loves you. Trust and believe that. He's got a great and amazing plan for your life if you believe and have faith. So, comment down below what you think about Tennessee. What you see their record being. I got them 9-3, and maybe I'm underestimating. Maybe I got the record right, but am I missing an opponent on their schedule that I'm overlooking and saying, like giving Tennessee too much credit in that game? You guys let me know down below. I love y'all. God bless. And from an Alabama fan, roll tide. I love you guys. Ballard Sports Media, checking out. Peace. Love y'all.